Have you ever felt a deep sense of knowing, like a quiet whisper that doesn't come from your thoughts or emotions? A presence inside you that speaks not in words, but in silent certainty. That's not your imagination. It's not just instinct. It's something far older, far deeper. And it's not coming from your mind. Long before science reduced the heart to a mechanical pump, ancient civilizations knew it as the true seat of the soul. Not the physical heart, but something far more mysterious, a spiritual heart. A center of energy, wisdom, and sacred connection. You can't see it, you can't measure it, but when it awakens, it changes everything. Imagine a quiet sanctuary within your chest, not built from bricks or bones, but from stillness and sacred light. A place that remains untouched by stress, noise, or confusion. That is your spiritual heart. It doesn't just help you feel, it helps you know trace. It doesn't just beat, it guides. This inner heart is the part of you that chooses love when the world offers fear. It's the compass that points you toward what's real, even when the world around you is full of illusions. It connects you to something greater, call it the universe, the divine, or your highest self. Whatever name you give it, this connection is always waiting, quietly, behind the noise. Ancient traditions didn't guess at this. They lived by it. The Egyptians believed the heart held your entire life's record. In their Book of the Dead, your heart, not your mind, was weighed after death. A feather of truth on one side, your heart on the other. If it was heavy with lies, regret, or fear, your soul could not pass on. That's how sacred they saw the heart, not just as an organ, but as the mirror of the soul. In India's Vedic texts, the heart is seen as the seat of the Atman, the true self. It's the home of the Anahata chakra, the energy center of unconditional love, balance, and harmony. When this heart center is blocked, we feel disconnected from joy, stuck in fear, and lost in the noise. But when it's open, we remember, we reconnect. The Chinese sages called this place the Shen, the spirit that resides in the heart. They believed when the Shen was strong and still, a person radiated wisdom, calm, and vitality. A balanced heart meant a balanced life. But somewhere along the way, modern life forgot. We put all our faith in the brain, in logic, speed, and constant thought. We silenced the deeper voice. We disconnected from the quiet intelligence inside the chest, and we wonder why we feel lost. The truth is, thinking won't always save you. Overthinking can't open a closed heart. But awareness can, stillness can, and breathing into your heart gently, intentionally can. So, how do we wake up this sacred center? Start with presence. Sit quietly. Place your hand over your chest. Breathe deeply, not just to your lungs, but to your heart. Imagine a soft light glowing there. With every inhale, it expands. With every exhale, it softens. Don't try to force anything, just feel. Ask yourself, what is my heart trying to say? Not your mind, not your past, not your fear, your heart. This practice may seem small, but it's powerful, because the spiritual heart doesn't shout, it whispers. And when you learn to listen, you find yourself guided by something real, unshakable, and true. It's not about becoming someone new, it's about returning to who you've always been. That version of you that knows how to love without fear, how to walk in peace, and how to see beauty even in the dark. This isn't just self-help, this is sacred remembering. So the next time the world feels heavy, don't just think your way through it, feel your way home. The real throne of your soul has always been right there in the quiet rhythm of your chest, in the stillness behind your breath. And once you find it, you won't ever need to search outside again. Across ancient traditions, there is a recurring whisper, an echo pointing to the center of our chest, the heart, not just as a physical organ, but as the seat of a higher truth. In yogic philosophy, it's known as Anahata, the fourth chakra. The name means unstruck sound, a vibration that exists before conflict, beyond duality. Anahata isn't just energy, it's the place where love flows without conditions, where compassion takes root, and where intuition blooms. Here the soul doesn't just exist, it begins to remember balls. In Sufism, this center is called the Qalb, not the heart that pumps blood, but a spiritual mirror. When clear, it reflects divine light. When clouded by ego, attachment, or fear, it distorts reality. The Sufis didn't seek intellectual understanding alone, they longed for a clean heart. Because when the Qalb is awakened, knowledge becomes wisdom, and faith becomes a direct experience of the divine. Christian mysticism speaks of the Sacred Heart, a radiant symbol of love that burns at the center of being. Saints and visionaries described it as a flame that consumes doubt, a portal into unity with God. Saint Teresa of Avila envisioned the soul as an inner castle, with many rooms. The deepest room? The heart, where the soul meets the divine in silence and surrender. Different languages, different metaphors, yet the message remains the same. There is a place within us untouched by the noise of thought, a secret chamber of the soul, where truth waits patiently. Not a myth, not a poetic image, but a felt reality for those willing to turn inward and listen. In our modern world, obsessed with speed, logic and surfaces, this wisdom feels distant. We're told to follow our heads, to ignore what can't be measured. But ancient teachings remind us, if we lose this inner compass, we drift away from ourselves. We forget the sacred within. The spiritual heart is not just a concept, it's a living, vibrating center of awareness, invisible to the eye, but deeply real. To find it, we must explore a different map, one that doesn't divide body from soul, or mind from spirit, but weaves them all together into a tapestry of being. In this deeper anatomy, we are not just physical bodies, we are layers of energy, emotion, intention, and spirit. And at the place where the energy body meets the soul, the spiritual heart resides. It is the center through which life force flows, and where our higher purpose begins to form. It's not loud, it doesn't argue, it guides through presence, not pressure. Unlike the brain, which solves problems, step by step, the spiritual heart knows in an instant, not through calculation, but through resonance. It recognizes truth the way a tuning fork hums, when it meets the right note. It hears the eternal in silence. It sees the sacred in simplicity. This is why ancient mystics chose stillness, why they fasted, meditated, or wandered into the desert, not to escape life, but to find this core again. Because when the spiritual heart awakens, your entire perspective shifts. The world stops being just material, and becomes luminous. You no longer chase meaning, you live it. The spiritual heart does not beat to time, it beats to essence, to beauty, to love. And the more we attune to it, the more we become whole, not perfect, but real. In every breath, every quiet moment, every act of kindness, the spiritual heart pulses beneath the surface, waiting, guiding, reminding you that the answers you seek aren't far away, they're within. So, if something in you has always felt like there's more to life, more to you, listen to that. That feeling is not confusion, it's your heart remembering, and it's time to return. Living flame of transformation. This fire doesn't burn the body, it burns illusions. It doesn't destroy it, reveals. When this flame is awakened, something profound occurs. The need to prove, defend, or hide begins to dissolve. You no longer seek validation from outside, because a deeper truth rises from within. This flame isn't lit through ambition or control, it's kindled through surrender. Not weakness, but conscious release. Letting go of masks, of roles, of everything you thought you had to be. And in that soft, stripped-down space, something sacred awakens. The real you. When the spiritual heart opens, your perception changes. You don't just see people, you feel them. You don't just move through the day, you sense a hidden rhythm guiding every step. A kind of inner music playing just beneath the noise of the world. The colors of life become more vivid, not because anything outside changed, but because your inner eye has opened. That's the gift of the awakened heart. It's not just about feeling more love, it's about becoming love. It's not about being more spiritual, it's about living from a place where every breath, every action becomes an offering, not out of duty, but because it's the most natural thing to do. And with this opening comes something else, discernment, a clear sense of truth, not as an opinion or belief, but as a knowing that lives in your bones. You start to recognize what is aligned and what is not, what resonates deeply and what feels hollow, and you follow that thread, not because you were told to, but because you simply can't ignore it anymore. This is why so many ancient paths focus on the heart, not as poetry, but as practice, not as emotion, but as awareness. They knew that only through the heart could you reach what's real. The mind can learn techniques, memorize scriptures and debate endlessly, but the heart knows thought, quietly, instantly, unshakably. To awaken this heart takes more than reading or listening. It requires presence, silence, honesty. You might begin by simply sitting with your hand on your chest, breathing gently, asking, what is alive in me right now? Not trying to fix anything, just listening. You may feel discomfort, old emotions rising. Let them. That's the soil breaking so the seed can grow. Trust that process. The awakening heart is not a sudden explosion. It's a gradual unfolding, like a flower that blooms when the time is right. And in that blooming, something extraordinary happens. You start to live differently. You speak more truth. You judge less. You forgive faster. You feel guided, not by fear but by something silent and vast within you. And life itself begins to respond, mirroring your new frequency, with unexpected synchronicities, deeper relationships, and a growing sense of meaning. So remember this. The spiritual heart is not a myth. It's not a metaphor. It's a real and living part of you, waiting patiently beneath the noise, the stories, and the striving. It is the doorway to your highest self. It is the source of your deepest wisdom, and it is the home you've always been looking for. Go there. Not tomorrow. Now. Connect with your spiritual heart right now. First, create space for silence. Not just the absence of noise, but the kind of silence where you can actually hear what's going on beneath the surface. Begin each day with a few minutes of stillness. Sit with your hand over your heart. Breathe slowly, and just ask, what truth lives here right now? No need to fix anything. Just listen. The spiritual heart speaks in whispers, not in shouts. Second, practice heart-centered breathing. Inhale gently through your nose, feeling your chest rise. Exhale slowly through your mouth, feeling the weight of your thoughts soften. With each breath, imagine light flowing in and out of your heart space. Do this for 5 minutes daily. Over time, this simple practice can shift your whole inner rhythm. Third, move from reaction to response. When someone triggers you, pause. Instead of snapping from habit or ego, breathe into your chest and ask, what would love do here? This isn't weakness, it's the power of presence. Responding from the heart doesn't mean avoiding conflict. It means meeting it with clarity and compassion. Fourth, reconnect with wonder. Children live from the heart naturally. They see magic in the ordinary. You can too. Go outside. Watch the sky shift colors at sunset. Feel the texture of leaves. Taste your food slowly. These aren't small things. They're doorways back to the sacred pulse of life. The heart opens when you stop rushing and start noticing. Fifth, express from your truth. Whether it's through journaling, speaking, singing, or simply being honest in conversation, let your words rise from that calm, centered space within. The spiritual heart doesn't speak to impress. It speaks to connect. Let that be your guide. As this way of living deepens, something begins to shift permanently. You'll feel more anchored, even in chaos. Your relationships start to heal, not because you've figured everything out, but because you're bringing more presence, more honesty, more grace into them. The heart's vibration is contagious. Others will feel it, even if they don't understand it. And here's the most beautiful part. The more you live from this place, the more you remember who you truly are. Not a list of achievements, not your past wounds, not the mask you show the world, but the real you, the one who's been quietly watching from behind your thoughts all along. You become more than a person surviving life. You become a soul participating in it. The external world might still bring challenges, but the way you meet those challenges will come from a deeper place. A place that doesn't break, a place that bends with grace, and loves without condition. This is the sacred return to the spiritual heart. Not an escape from life, but a coming home to the center of it. A return to your essence, to the spark the ancient mystics spoke of, to the quiet fire that never goes out. So pause, breathe, and begin. You don't need to chase anything. You don't need to become someone else. You only need to awaken what's already alive inside you. The door to the spiritual heart has always been open. Now is the time to step through it. Spark and keep the flame of your spiritual heart alive. One, create inner silence. The spiritual heart speaks in whispers, never in noise. To hear it you must get quiet, not just around you, but within. Step away from screens, pause the racing thoughts, and give yourself 10 sacred minutes of stillness. No goal, no fixing, just be. In that stillness, something soft begins to stir, a sense, a knowing, a pulse that isn't just physical, but divine. To focus on the center of your chest, not as an idea, but as a living space. Close your eyes, breathe slowly, and gently bring all your attention to the middle of your chest. Do this while sitting, walking, or even waiting in line. Over time, you may feel warmth, pressure, or a quiet pulse that feels different from your heartbeat. That's the spiritual heart, stirring awake, like a sun behind the clouds, waiting for your gaze. 3. Align your thoughts, words, and actions. When you think one thing, say another, and do a third, your energy gets tangled. The heart can't shine through that static, but when your thoughts match your words, and your words match your actions, your energy flows clean. The heart loves truth, not performance, not perfection, just truth. Speak honestly. Act with integrity. Live what you believe, not what you pretend. 4. Turn your pain into a doorway. Pain is a teacher, not an enemy. The spiritual heart often cracks open in the places where we've hurt the most. Don't run from that. Go into it, gently. Ask your pain, what do you want me to understand? Let it speak, not with bitterness, but with wisdom. Often the moments that broke us were secretly trying to birth us. 5. Serve others with loving awareness. Real service isn't obligation, it's recognition, seeing yourself in someone else. When you help, do it from the heart, not from duty, but from connection. When you lift someone's burden, speak a kind word, or show up when no one's watching. You're not just helping them, you're feeding the flame of your own heart. Compassion is the heart's natural language. Speak it often. 6. Practice gratitude as a spiritual act. Gratitude isn't about pretending everything's perfect. It's about noticing what's real. Say thank you for the breath in your lungs, the lesson in your struggle, the beauty in something simple. Gratitude isn't passive, it's powerful. When you say thank you from the soul, you align with the rhythm of creation. The heart begins to bloom, and life starts feeling less like survival, more like a sacred dance. These aren't just habits, they're offerings. They're how you tend the fire that lives deep inside your chest. And if you treat them like sacred rituals, not just self-help tips, you'll notice something shift. Life becomes quieter, but deeper, slower but richer. That sense of more you've always felt starts to become real, not outside you but within. We live in a world overflowing with noise, distractions, and pressure. But the spiritual heart doesn't live in the world's noise. It lives in the quiet moments we create, in the pauses between thoughts, in the truth behind our masks, in the love we give without asking for anything back. It doesn't matter where you are on your journey. You don't have to be perfect, enlightened, or fearless. You only need to be willing to listen, willing to feel, willing to let go of what's false, so that what's real can rise. The spiritual heart is not an idea, it's not a myth, it's your original self, whole, radiant, awake. So pause, breathe, feel your chest, and ask, what would my heart do right now? Then do that, and watch your world begin to glow from the inside out. But remember the spiritual heart. Through this journey, we've uncovered something ancient, something sacred. The heart we're speaking of isn't just a poetic metaphor, or a place where feelings live. It's a living center of energy, intuition, and divine wisdom, echoed across centuries and cultures. From the sacred rites of the Egyptians, the breath of yogis, the poems of the Sufis, to the prayers of mystical Christians, each pointed inward, toward the same hidden light. That light lives in you, and no matter how much dust has settled over it, it never goes out. The world around us chases answers in data, in devices, in distraction, but more and more people are feeling it, that ache, that no achievement can soothe, that whisper in the middle of the night, that asks, is this all there is? That ache is not emptiness, it's your spiritual heart, trying to wake you up. And here's the truth, finding your heart is not the hardest part. Trusting it is. Trusting means pausing when the world demands speed. It means choosing truth when comfort would be easier. It means saying no to what pulls you away from your center, even if it's popular. It means listening not to the noise in your head, but to the quiet rhythm of your soul. This is not the easy path, but it is the only one that leads home. Living from the heart doesn't make life perfect, it makes it real. You stop pretending, you stop performing. You begin to notice the sacred hiding in plain sight. The way a stranger's smile can heal, the way silence can speak louder than words. The way love flows not from trying, but from simply being. When you begin to live this way, something shifts. You're no longer a leaf tossed in the wind. You're the tree rooted deep, still in the storm, swaying but never breaking. This isn't a philosophy, it's a practice. So here's the invitation. Don't just hear these words and nod. Live them. Make them yours. Wake up and place your hand on your chest. Breathe in slowly. Ask your heart, what do you want me to know today? Then listen. Not with your mind, with your presence. When you face a choice, big or small, ask what feels most true. The answer won't shout, but it will feel steady, clear, and kind. Speak from the heart, even when your voice trembles. Act from the heart, even when others doubt. Return to the heart, especially when you're lost. Because over time, that quiet flame grows. And one day, it won't just light your path, it will become your home. A home where you no longer need to prove anything. Where nothing outside needs to be perfect. Because inside, you are finally whole. That is the sacred return. Not a flight from the world, but a deeper embrace of it. Not an escape, but a remembering. If this message stirred something in you, don't let that spark fade. Subscribe and walk this path with us. Together, we remember the ancient ways, the soul's map, and the tools to return to who we really are. If this message opened your heart, give it a like. That simple act sends out ripples, helping others find this path too. And if you know someone who's been searching, share this with them. One reminder is sometimes all it takes to reignite a long-lost fire. The spiritual journey is not about leaving the world, it's about entering it fully, with a heart wide open, and a soul fully alive. The most sacred and real thing you can do is come home to yourself, home of all. Not a house, not a place on a map, but a presence, a center, a silent knowing that's been with you since the beginning. It doesn't wear a name, and it doesn't demand attention. But when the world becomes too loud, too fast, too hollow, this presence gently calls you back, back to the real, back to the still, back to the only place you've truly belonged. This is the home of all. The heart, behind the heart, the space within every breath. It's not something you build, it's something you remember, like a childhood melody that rises out of nowhere and brings tears to your eyes, even if you don't know why. It's the feeling of standing in sunlight after a long shadow. The moment your mind lets go and your soul whispers, yes, this is it. Every tradition has pointed to it. The mystics spoke of it in poems, the sages in silence, the wanderers in stars, all of them tracing different maps that led to the same invisible land, this inner sanctuary, where everything begins and everything returns. And here's the truth most of us forget. You've never left it. You just stopped noticing. We chase, we plan, we build identities, we lose ourselves in images, in deadlines, in roles. But beneath all of it, there is something that never moved, never changed, never stopped loving you. It waited, it waits now. You don't need to go far, you don't need to know more, you don't need to fix yourself first. The door is already open, the invitation has already been sent. Close your eyes, breathe in, feel the rhythm in your chest. That isn't just a heartbeat, it's an echo, a pulse of something infinite expressing itself through your temporary form. And in that pulse is every answer you've ever looked for. The real journey is not out there, it's inward, toward the place untouched by fear, untouched by time. The home of all is not just within you, it is you, the eternal presence that watches your joys and your storms, without judgment. When you sit with this presence without distraction, without expectation, you begin to see life differently. You stop trying to prove yourself. You stop needing the world to validate your worth. You simply are. And in that being, a kind of magic returns. Peace that isn't tied to results. Joy that doesn't need a reason. Love that doesn't ask for anything back. From that center you live differently. You speak softer but with more power. You move slower but with more purpose. You love deeper but with less fear. And that changes everything. This is the invitation now. To live from the home of all. To walk through your days not as someone searching, but as someone remembering. Remembering the truth that was never lost, only overlooked. Let your thoughts come and go. Let your feelings rise and fall. But keep one part of you rooted in this quiet center. The more you return, the more you realize you were never separate. Not from others. Not from life. Not from the divine. In this space, your burdens feel lighter. Your questions softer, your soul louder. And when people ask what changed, you won't need to explain. They'll feel it in your presence. Because the home of all doesn't speak in words, it speaks in being. So if you feel tired from the chase, if the outer world feels too heavy, come back. Sit, breathe, Remember, you don't need a new version of yourself, you just need to come home, because the most sacred place in all creation was never somewhere out there. It was always inside you, waiting to be lived from, waiting to be loved from, waiting to be remembered.